This Torah class is brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.
Okay, good morning everyone, and Chanukah. So, like we mentioned, what's Chanukah? My Chanukah, the Tana Rabbanon. Chanukah is extra commitment to Limud HaTorah. So I want to bring to your attention a very interesting sugya. I was working on this very late last night, at least until 1 o'clock in the morning. Besides looking into the sugya, it also takes a lot of time to make the sheet. So, when you have a Gemara Shiur, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. You have the Gemara. The Gemara is already printed. Here you got to put it together. Okay, so we're going to talk about a very interesting custom of the Maharshal. The Maharshal was one of the greatest all the Achronim, the Yam Shel Shlomo, and his name was Rav Shlomo Luria, one of the earliest of the Achronim, and it's brought down in the Shari Tshuva. Now, if you look at any Shulchan Aruch, besides, of course, the Mishnah Berurah, and the regular Shulchan Aruch, you have the Magen Avraham and the Taz, you have something called Shari Tshuva and Ber Hetev. So the Shari Tshuva brings down a minhag of the Maharshal. The Maharshal, Kana Shel Kesef, the Maharshal bought a silver menorah, but not one time, every year. Uvelel Sheni Hischa Lahadlikba. He didn't light it the first night. The first night he lit last year's menorah. The second night he lit his new menorah. Ubeirech lahadlik, v'sha'asa nisim, v'shachianu. And the Maharshal made a shachianu on the second night on his new menorah. But if you're making a new menorah, you should make the shachianu when you buy it, right? No, avsha b'shas kinyan yeshavarich. But we like to be mesader brachos with other brachos, like we do havdalah. Why do we do besamim dafka by havdalah or ma'orei aish by havdalah? We like to throw everything together with the kais. So we like to put everything together. So he would save the shachianu to make it together with the lahadlik and the shasanisim. Nicha l'sader brachos shachianu im elu shtei brachos, says the Matei Moshe. Okay, very interesting. Says the Shari Tshuva in the name of the Maharshal. So this was the custom of the Maharshal. Maharshal would make shachianu not only on the first night, but he would make it on the second night. What would he make it on? He would buy a new menorah, but dafka for the second night, and he would make a shachianu on the second night together with the other brachos. By the way, how does the Shari Tshuva know this? The Shari Tshuva came, good 150, 200 years after the Maharshal. How does he know the Maharshal did this? So he quotes the Matei Moshe. The Matei Moshe was the Rav Moshe Mas, who was the primary disciple, the primary Talmud of the Maharshal. And the Matei Moshe writes beautiful words. He talks about, the Gemara says, Gadol Shimusha Yoiser Milimuda. It's better to be Meshamesh, it's greater to be Meshamesh, Talmidei Chachamim, more than to learn from them. So what does that mean? It's Machlokes Rishonim. Some say it means that more than just, let's say, going to the Shiur, is Shimusha means speaking with them and learning, on the road, on the way, sitting next to them, talking to them. Because, when you give a Shiur, when a rabbi gives a shiur, or a rebbe gives a shiur, so he's giving just black and white information. But then there are always things that don't make it in, that you can only get if you have that relationship with the rebbe. But there's another pshat. Shimusha means to service the rebbe, to help him out. So look at the lashon of the Matei Moshe. Matei Moshe uses a beautiful lashon. He says, whoever, any rebbe, your rebbe, whoever you learn from. So people ask me, who's my rebbe? I could tell you 10 people who I love, The Matei Moshe says, "V'ani kishayisi shoyev mayim mimayne hayeshua." Such a beautiful language. He says, when I would draw forth water from the well springs of salvation, from who? Mimakar mayim chayim, from the springs of life. Hanoivim mayim shel Shlomo, that overflow with the waters of Shlomo. He's referring to his Rabbi, Rav Shlomo Luria. Ra'isi shekanu leishragos ktanos shel kesef. He bought small torches of silver, and he would buy it. He would start lighting it on the second night. And he would make these 3 brachas. And what's the reason? Because the Gemara in Bracha says if you build a new house or you buy new vessels, you make a shachianu. The Rosh and the Torah say that you should make the bracha when you buy it. Mikol Makom, he wanted to be mesader together with the other brachas, like we're mesader the shachianu of lulav. We make that shachianu with the bracha on netila, and the shachianu on sukkah with kiddush hayom. Or some people, they make netilas yadayim, right? Besides negel vaser in the morning, Really, it's very important to know. I know I'm bringing it. He mentions it. When you wake up in the morning, first thing you need to do is wash Negelasser. Some people put it next to their bed. If you don't, then you should just try to wash Negelasser as soon as you get out of bed. In other words, you shouldn't do anything before you wash Negelasser. If you touch food, you might not be able to eat the food. You know how to touch your eyes. You know how to touch your ears. You know how to touch. Negelasser has to be removed immediately. But after then, presumably, most human beings on planet Earth, they have to use the facilities in the morning. So once you're using the facility, now before davening, there's another takana of netilas yadayim. So it's a second netila. So the question is, and you make a bracha on it, al netilas yadayim. When do you make that bracha? Some people wait till they make the bracha until they get to shul. L'maisa, it's better to do like this. You wash Negelas in the morning, you go to the bathroom, you get dressed, and before you come to shul, or when you get to shul, you wash your hands and you make the bracha of netilas yadayim then. But there is such a custom of just waiting to actually say the bracha until you get to shul, even though you've washed earlier, because there's the concept of saying brachos together with the other brachas.
Asher Yatzar too.
Asher Yatzar too. You mean what? To delay it?
Yeah, you say it in the...
Yeah, so you say netilas yadayim, you say Asher Yatzar, right, you say like Neshama. Right. Yeah. Yeah, so technically you could delay Asher Yatzar as well, right?
Maybe if you had to use the restrooms again before you.
Yeah, some people they have to go again. Then you lost out on an Asher Yatzar because you can only make one. Okay. So the question is, first of all, what kind of minhag is this that the Maharshal would buy a new menorah and use it on the second night? I don't think anyone here. Look, I know in my household somehow a new menorah ends up in the house every year. This kid broke theirs. This kid there's too much wax on it. They spilled the oil. Whatever it is. So we make a shechiyah. If you buy a substantial kli that has value, you make a shechiyah. For example, if you get a new car, not if you lease the car, if you buy a new car, you'll make a hatoy v'hametiv. Why? Because if you're going to let your wife drive it, that's your decision. But if you will let your wife drive that car, then it's a new kli that is for more than one person. You make hatoy v'hametiv. Somebody has a baby boy, they make hatoy v'hametiv. Somebody, if it's a benefit just for you and not for anybody else, then you make a shechiyano. So a new suit, Bisman is debatable, because some people, a new suit is like a new pair of socks. But if you buy a new suit and you like it, you get a kick out of it, yeah, you should make a shechiyano. Nowadays, buying gadgets is very common. It's not, the bracha is not made so much. But let's say if somebody bought a new menorah, a real silver menorah, it costs whatever, $1,000, then you should make a shechiyano. Yeah. Okay, so the question is, why did the Maharshal buy this new menorah every year? Why did he make the shechiyano on the second night? And l'chayra, you could ask, since the shechiyano he was making was going on the menorah, it's a random shechiyano. Why in the world? It's a hefsek between the bracha of lahadlik and shas anisim and the lighting of the menorah. Bishlam on the first night, the shechiyano is going on the mitzvah. But the second, imagine if I decided that I'm going to eat a new fruit before I light the menorah, and I'm going to save the shechiyanu for the second night to make it between lahadlik and lighting the menorah. That would be a hefsek. I would have to make another bracha. The guys make a random shechiyanu on a pomegranate. So why was the Maharshal do this? Why did he do this? And l'chayra, it's a hefsek. Okay, so let's look in the Gemara Masechta Shabbos Daf Chav Gimel. We'll try to do it very quick. I don't want to hold everybody up too late. The Gemara says like this: Amar Reb Chia bar Ashi, Amar Rav, Hamadlik ner shel Chanukah tzarich levarich. Someone who lights the Chanukah candles has to make a bracha. Rabbi Yirmiyah Amar, Haroya ner shel Chanukah tzarich levarich. Even if you don't light, even if you just see, you make a bracha. Amar Rabbi Yehuda, Yom Rishon, on the first day Haroya mevarich beis. If you see and you didn't light, you make two brachas. Umadlik mavarich gimel, and the one who lights makes three. Mikan ve'elach, from the second day, from the first day and on, madlik mavarich shtaim. If you light, you make two. V'roya mavarich achas, and if you see, you make one. So the question is, which bracha are you losing out on? In other words, right? It's saying on day one, if you light, you make three, and if you see, you make two. And on day two, if you light, you make two, and if you see, you make one. So which bracha are you losing after day one? Obviously, Shachiyanu. So Gemara asks, "My mamayit, which bracha do you no longer have after day one?" Mamayit zman. You don't have shachiyanu. V'nimayit neis. Why don't we say let's be mamayit sha'asanisim? Because the miracle happened on day one. No, the Gemara says no. Neis kol yomei yisei. Every day was a miracle. And we'll get into that svara. Every day of Chanukah was another miracle. It's not one continuous miracle of 8 days. It's every day is a separate miracle. So let me just ask you a question, right? Imagine I came into shul and my Shabbos morning drush was, by the way, I want everyone to know, you don't make a shechiyanu after day one. So some people will be happy, because at least I didn't give Musar, right? At least the rabbi didn't give it. But they said, what in the world is the rabbi talking about? I mean, Good Morning America, everybody knows you don't make a Shachianu after day one. Like, what's the chiddush? What's the chiddush of the Gemara that you're mamayit zman? What's the havamina that you would make a shechianu after day one? It says, right? What bracha are you mamayit? You're mamayit zman. Of course you're mamayit zman. You never make a shechianu after day one.
Do candle lunar.
Okay, it's another fine. So it's another miracle. But let's say Pesach, for example. Let's say Sukkot, for example. It's every day is another Yom Tif, right? It's Chalak b'Karbanai Seim. So you say Halal Shalem, but you're not going to make Shechianu because it's the same Yom Tif.
Well, doesn't Beis Shammai hold you like less candles? So in Beis Shammai, there wouldn't be a Shechianu on less candles.
Okay, but Beis Shammai would agree though that every day was another miracle, and you say Halal Shalem every day. Like, what's the chiddush of the Gemara that you're mamayit Shechianu? Why would you not make a Shechianu? I'm sorry, why would you make a shechianu, right? So it's Chanukah, you have to ask the Beis Yosef's kasha. Let's do that with the Yotzei, right? Who wants to say what the Beis Yosef's kasha?
Why is it 8 days? It should be 7 days.
Right, why is Chanukah 8 days? It should be 7 days.
First 7 days.
That's the kasha of the Beis Yosef, right? In Simon Tov Reshan, v'ikal amedak lama kavush shmana yamim the shemen shebepach hayadai boy kedei lahadlik lai lechad. There was enough to light for one night, so the miracle only happened 7 nights. So the Beis Yosef gives 3 answers. Let me say them very quickly. They divided that one jug into 8 parts, and they put 1/8 of it every day. So every day was a miracle. That's answer number 1. Answer number 2. They put the whole thing in day 1, and after they poured it all into the menorah on day 1, the jug remained full. So on day 1, there was a recognizable miracle. Or they poured everything in day 1, and after it lit, in the morning they found that the menorah was still full. So day 1 already there was a recognizable miracle. So be it as the Beis says, there's like 3 different ways of like explaining how even the first day was a miracle. But comes the Pri Chadash, and Pri Chadash says, well, it's not a kasha to begin with, because there are 2 things happened on Chanukah. There's a miracle of the Neiros that lasted an extra 7 days. But what about the main thing, right? What about the war, the Nitzachain? So the Pri Chadash says, "Shein sarach lechoza." We don't need any of his answers. Shein svara shikvu zayin yamim michav of kisa. What are you going to do? You're going to start the Yom Tov on the 26th, and the main day of the victory you're going to ignore. So the first day of Chanukah is for the miracle of the Milchama. The second day and on, what?
It could both be for the same day. The same day could be for two things. The Pri Chadash question on the Beis Yosef.
No, the Pri Chadash is just saying that. What's the Beis Yosef want? What's his kasha? His kasha is Chanukah should just be from the 26th day and on, because the 25th wasn't a miracle.
If at Purim we have a lot of Nisa that happened, and we have one day Purim. We don't have to add an extra.
Wasn't an open nace.
The war? Okay. You don't need an open nace necessarily to make a Yom Tif. You do need an open nace to say halal. Okay, good point, valid point. In other words, maybe you could ask on the Pri Chadash, why would you say halal on day 1?
I bet we can come up with 100 answers.
Yeah, it sounds like something. They came out with the Sefer now.
Sefer with 100.
500 answers this year. 500 answers.
I only have the 500.
I think I have a better kasha than the question is, with 500 answers, what was the basis of thinking?
So let's say if there's any question that has 500 answers, it's not a question, or there's no answer.
And the first
it's such a good question. It's such a good question.
Yeah,
There's so many answers to try to figure out.
Right.
Why was his first answer one that has a major question on it? His first answer, he could have given the second, third answer first. He gave the first answer was that they split it up into 8, and then they would say Mechananes, and then 8 Sefer Alanes. How'd they do that?
Yeah, that's a kasha, right? That's the kasha they
Why
asked.
would that be? His first answer is the one that's
Right.
the biggest problem.
Right.
100 years ago. No one threw
Right.
a question before the Beis Yosef.
No, by the way, it's also a mistake that it's the Beis Yosef's kasha. The Meiri asked the kasha. Meiri came before the Beis Yosef, and the Eshkol came even before the Meiri.
You had an answer also?
Yeah, he gives one of the Beis Yosef's answers. Yeah.
Maybe the Rabbanim from Mishak and Chanukah had the question.
Okay. Yeah, right. So Rabbi said the Pri Chodesh's answer is day 1 is for the miracle of the military victory. By the way, I saw last night there's a very interesting sefer called Chukei Ritzaynecha, that just think of the difference between the Beis Yosef and the Pri Chadash. The Beis Yosef, all of the Beis Yosef's answers are, what's Pshat in 8 days? The oil was miraculous even on the first day. The Pri Chadash, right, so the Beis Yosef is for Sfardim. The Pri Chadash is Ashkenazi. He gives an answer, the first day is for the military victory. So the Sefer Chukei Ritzainecha, one of the main differences between Ashkenazim and Sfardim in the Nusach of Al Anisim is Ashkenazim say V'al HaMilchamos, and Sfardim don't say V'al HaMilchamos. What's the pshat? Because Sfardim go like the Beis Yosef. In the Beis Yosef's answer, it's all about the oil. There's nothing about the Milchama. Lamela, they don't say the words V'al HaMilchamos. Ashkenazim, they go like the Pri Chadash, and that's why they put in the words V'al HaMilchamos in. They say like.
You don't celebrate it.
Right.
They don't even light neighbors either, right?
They go like Tosus, that only one person in the family. By the way, it's the only time that Ashkenazim follow the Rambam, and the Sfardim follow Tosus.
But the Rambam says, in Anshe Sfard, there's only one per household, but you should light each and every person in the household.
Does he?
Sure.
Okay, I'm not familiar. Maybe. Okay. That's what the Berhetev brings down. The Berhetev brings down it's the only time that Ashkenazim follow the Rambam and the Sfardim follow Tosus. So comes the Pri Megadim. This is really what I wanted to bring to your attention, to try to explain the minhag of the Maharshal of why he would buy a new menorah and use it on the second night and make a shachianu. Look at number 7 in the Pri Megadim on the 4th line. Mikamakam Anan Kaimalon. We hold the in Mavarch shachianu belel beis, that we don't make shachianu on the second night. Go up one line. The Gemara says that on the second night you don't make shachianu. Deloy Toimar, don't say b'chav hey neis nitzachon b'chavav neis teshemen. In other words, what's the chiddush of the Gemara that you don't make a shachianu on the second night? The chiddush is, according to Pri Megadim, not like the Pri Chadash. Because the Pri Chadash was right that the first day is a miracle of the nitzachon, and the second day is a miracle of the oil. Then it would come out that you should make a shachianu on day 1 and on day 2. So the chiddush of the Gemara that we're mamayit zman is, don't say for the first night you make a shachianu on the nitzachon, and the second night we make a shachianu on the nes of the shemen. No, don't say that. Now it doesn't mean the Pri Chadash is wrong. It could be the Gemara just saying it would not warrant a separate shachianu. But says the Pri Megadim, Anan kaimalon dein mavarch shachianu b'lo beis. We paskin, you don't make a shachianu on the second night. Rak Maharshal also came. The Maharshal did this l'chibur of mitzvah, to show his love for mitzvahs. V'sidron gimel brachos aneros b'lo beis v'shachianu akelim chadashim. In other words, what the Maharshal was doing was basically covering his bases. Even though the Gemara says we don't make a shachianu on the second night, but there's a svara to say you do make a shachianu. What's the svara? The fact that the Gemara has to say we're mamayit zman, that means there's a havamina to make a shachianu. So we don't do it. But the Maharshal bought a menorah. So you say, okay, he bought a menorah. First of all, what's he doing? Answer is, al tzchib of mitzvah, he's allowed to make a shachianu on a menorah. So why would he do that? So why didn't he buy a new car? First of all, the menorah is cheaper. And second of all, there's an Indian to make a shachianu on the... In other words, he felt the cause of two separate nisim, the miracle of the oil and the miracle of the nitzachon.
But it's genius, because the only time to make the shachianu is when you use it, and the only time you use it is by adlafa, so it's not a hefsek.
Right, and exactly, and that's why it's not a hefsek, because it is somewhat connected to the mitzvah of hadlaka. That's what the Maharshal did. Lamaisa, the Pri Megadim says, "B'tzarchiyanim yesh lanu lasses kain." It's a question of whether we should do this. Why do mechsi kiyuara? For an average person to take upon themselves such a chumrah, to buy him a special menorah every year, to make a shachianu, to fulfill a havamina of the Gemara, it could be for the average Joe, it's gaivadik. V'shani adoinenu rashal. For him, he's of such great caliber, he was able to do this. Okay. And also another possible problem is the roya. What's somebody who sees you doing this going to say? He's going to think that you're supposed to make a shachianu on the second night. He's not going to know the whole lamdas. Okay, but it's interesting hanhaga of the Maharshal and the explanation of the Pri Megadim. By the way, Rosh Zalman Auerbach writes that bottom line is somebody who bought or got a new menorah of silver and he didn't make a shachianu, So what should he do? In other words, I don't think any of us are going out and buying a new menorah every year.
Yeah, but I have my son just got a mitzvah present.
Ah.
It was a silver menorah. Like, yes, I mean, I wish I would have known what to do.
Ah.
Because I'm in a Shechiona situation.
So Yassi's son, he got a new menorah. So what should he do?
But did he
Should
light it
he?
yesterday?
He lit it yesterday.
So now maybe he Taka should do like the Maharshal. Don't use it until the second night and make
No,
the
he used it
Shechianu.
last night.
Too late.
But whatever. If he didn't, we'll make believe he didn't use it. So what should he have done? Should he have saved it for tonight?
Right.
So the Rosh Hashanah Auerbach says no. He should do it, light it on the first night, and have in mind in the Shechianu on the Neiros on the menorah as well. Interesting, right? And he writes in the halacha,
A certain time to say the Shechianu?
as long as you still feel the simcha. In other words, there is a statute of limitations.
It should be all 8 days. The first...
Yeah, I mean, you could technically, anytime you need to make a Shechianu, the statute of limitations is as long as you still feel the simcha for the item you bought or the simcha. What Rosh Hashanah is saying is, La'afuke saying, save the menorah for night 2 and make the Shechianu night 2 like the Maharshal. We're not noyeg like the Maharshal. We're not noyeg like the Maharshal. Over here, I'll tell you one thing and then we'll end with a story.
What about nights 3 through 8?
According to who? Maharshal?
Yeah,
There's only 2 Shechianus. One is for the Nesa, the Nitzachon, and one is for the oil. Right? Okay, so there's a Sefer Shalmei Toida from Rav Shalom Pelman, and he quotes this minog of the Maharshal that he used to buy this new menorah, and he asked, l'chara, it's a hefsek between the brachos of lahadlik and sha'asa and the hadlaka. He says, if anything, the Maharshal should have made a shechianu before the bracha of lahadlik. This way there would be no hefsek. He says maybe because it's on a menorah, it's not a hefsek. But then he quotes the Stipler. Let's see if we can find it. Let's say the next paragraph. V'shem Moran Hagoyin Rav Yaakov Yisrael Kanievsky Baal Kilos Yaakov Shamati. Zemi bought the Stipler. Zemi has a Stipler.
Gotta bring in one.
What?
Bring in one for someone.
It's not in that Stipler.
It's not in
Zemi Stipler. Shamati Liashiv Hahid Marshal. The Efsher. The time of delay have a shachin below sheni hefsek. Because the Nehid delay tiknu chazal levarch shachianu b'chol yomim Chanukah. There is no takana of Chazal to make a shechianu on every day of Chanukah. Right? We don't make that. But the Stipler says the following svara. Now, Rabbi Yossi showed me yesterday an unbelievable Vilna Gaon that I didn't know. Lagabe, the following topic. We know that we say Halo Shalom every day of Chanukah, which is unusual because we don't even say Halo Shalom every day of Pesach. Why don't we say Hallel every day of Pesach, Halo Shalom? Because basically it's the same carbon every day. Well, Chanukah, there are no carbonos. They didn't bring carbonos on Chanukah. So why do you say Halo Shalom every single day? So l'chayra, you have to say, you say it for the miracle. However, the lashon of Tosfos and Masechta Tainis is it. You see, there are 2 chiyuvei halal. You could say halal for a nes, or you could say halal for a yom tif. Tosfos and Masechta Tainis and Avchav Chesam and Beis is mashma that on Chanukah you say halal because every day is a different yom tif. Now, why would every day be a different yom tif? Because the miracle was different every day. Every day was a new miracle. Therefore, each day of Chanukah is a different yom tif. So, if you look in Tosfos and Tainis, Chav Chesam and Beis, what? Each day is a separate Yom Tif. Look at Tosfos says Yom Tif Harishon of Pesach we say Halo Shalom, but we know after the first day of Pesach we don't say Halo Shalom. It's considered one long Yom Tif. It's one miracle. Yitzias Mitzrayim. It wasn't a different miracle every day. That's brought out by the fact that it's the same carbon every day of Pesach. So who goymer Hala on the first day of Pesach we're goymer Hala. Avo Shmoina Yimei Pesach Loi. We don't say whole Hala all 8 days of Pesach. Mishum Deloy Dami LeChanukah. Pesach is not like Chanukah and Sukkot. The Chanukah dinohu ligmar halal dechol haches yomim haya hanes miskadel v'haya kol chad v'chad yom tif. So he says it straight out. It's not that we're saying halal for the miracle. It's that since every day the miracle increased, Memela every day has a new character of Yom Tif. It's not, don't view Chanukah as an 8-day Yom Tif. Chanukah is, each day is a new Yom Tif. That's what Tosfos says. By the way, Yossi Shomi, I have to know this Gra. It's unbelievable. The Gra says we say Hallel Shalom on every day of Chanukah. Why? because we have to make up hallels that we don't say on other Yom Tovim. What are the hallels we don't say on other Yom Tovim?
No, we don't say halal at all.
So it says like this.
Pesach.
Pesach. How many days of Pesach do we not say hallel?
6.
6. You know, in Eretz Yisrael, 6. And the Gemara asks, why don't we say hallel on Rosh Hashanah, Sevechav Zermezim Psuchim, Rosh Hashanah, and Yom Kippur. So the 8 days of hallel of Chanukah are mashlim, the 8 hallel midoraisas that we're not allowed to say. Interesting concept.
Because then you maslim all Yom Tovim together, so that everything has a gomer.
So Chanukah is like gives fulfillment to
Yes.
all the Yom
Purim.
Tovim.
Purim, the Megillah is
It's
halal.
not the right.
The Megillah is
And also
considered
Purim,
halal.
it wasn't in
Shiur.
Eretz Yisrael.
Yeah,
Wasn't in
they're
Eretz
different
Yisrael.
perushim. Yeah,
But when's hell ever done?
Yeah, but you're not allowed to say how.
Hallel for Yom Tov. We're mashlim the hallels for Yom Tovim that are the rest. That's a shaila. Whether l'chara they're not. L'chara they're not. But so basically, what the Stipler is saying is that since every day of Chanukah is another Yom Tov, so even though they weren't masakin shachianu for each day, but if one would have a reason to make a shachianu and be mechavin for the Yom Tov, it would not be a hefsek.
So why didn't the Maharshal buy 7 menorahs?
Oh, so why did the Maharshal buy 7 menorahs?
Go a little crazy.
That's maybe why they throw them in.
Let's see the lush. Let's see what he says. He says, "Mikamakim kiven de ikabei chilak yamim uvechol yam have a kiyamtiv." Like Tosfos says in Tainis, "Yamtiv arisha in the hainu time of the Chanukah goyim mesahalel bechol yam tvei mishmanas yimei Pesach." Because the 8 days of Chanukah, the nes was miskadel, and each day was a yamtiv by itself. Im kain damik tzas lelel sheni shel Rosh Hashanah. It's a little bit like the second night of Rosh Hashanah that we say shachianu and kiddush. Even if you don't have a beged chadash, it's better to have a beged chadash. But if it's not ma'akev, if you don't have a beged chadash,
You shouldn't need to buy any.
what?
You shouldn't need to buy any menorahs. Just do a new.
No, but it's like it's a suffix. The after kedusha achas, it's 2 days. Hachanam mikim the shnei yomim hem shachianu shachas gam le'inyan yimei Chanukah. But it's not a hefsek. So why didn't he buy 7? Yeah, I'm with you. I don't really understand this. Shot.
Yeah, but it's probably. Do you have to say?
That's what they say in the same time. Like, why would the second night be different than any other day?
Because it's beginning, right?
Second, now what? It's the beginning.
I mean, first night it's Melchoma, second night.
No, even for the Maharshal,
Mexico.
2 menorahs is Mechzik Yura.
No, but if someone buys 2 cars, right? He's not. Second car. It doesn't make him as happy as the first car, right? It's already.
Every car makes him happy.
No.
I don't know. Don't ask
Fine,
me.
Noah. Go find out. Do a student experiment.
No, but
Okay.
according to the Pshat,
Yeah.
we split it into 8 parts. So
Yeah.
mamish, each day was a miracle because each day
No, it's the
lasted.
same
and-
car.
No, so it's
You
like,
buy this.
like, why is he doing this on the second day?
Right,
And not-
no, but
yeah.
One menorah, second menorah means.
Rabbi said, I just want to share with you a little story. We'll end with this, okay? The Chedush Arim, Parshas Vayeshev. Ger Chassidim. Tell me from Ger, no?
Yeah, but still go.
I'm from Ger. I'm from Ger. My Elta Zayda was lieutenant of the Ger Rebbe in Europe. He died at 26 years old doing shlichus for the Ger Rebbe. My grandfather's father. Yeah.
Daniel Rosen told us the gear.
My Nusach Ashkenaz? Ger is the only Chassidus that they do certain things Nusach Ashkenaz. For example, they put on tefillin Nusach Ashkenaz. Ger Chassidim, they wrap like toward you and they use Ksab Yosef.
Called Ger.
You also gear?
Still go.
I was born a Jew. I was a Ger fan. Yeah.
So we're not going to stop during
Okay.
davening and learn.
Which rebel was your great grandfather showing?
The Mariamis, maybe? Or maybe the basis, I'm not sure. I think the Mariamis. Anyway, the Chedush Arim says like this. What's the big Chedush of the Nes of Chanukah? We find by many tzaddikim that oil lit extra. Like Rabbi Chanina ben Doisa, right? He came home, his wife came home with vinegar. He said, well, mali vinegar, mali oil. So he says also Kriyas Yamsuf. What's the big Chedush of Kriyas Yamsuf? Pinchas ben Yair split Nar Ginoi 3 times. So he says like this: for a tzaddik, it's not a big deal. For a tzaddik who all of his anhagos are chutz u'derech hateva, so min hashemayim they're noig with him chutz u'derech hateva. But Kriyas Yamsuf was not just for the tzaddikim, and the miracle of Chanukah was not just for it was for the average Joe also. So for the average Joe, it was taka a big ness. But just on the topic that that oil has lit very long periods for big tzaddikim, in the introduction of the Yam Shel Shlomo, the Maharshal, he brings down a very cryptic story. He says, V'gam, look at number 13, this is the Hakdama Liyam Shoshoma. Pam echad ba liyadi al yedei ner mitzvah v'tayra ar. One time, it came to me, through a candle of a mitzvah and the light of Torah, ki'ilu heruni min hashamayim, as if they showed me from heavens, v'nasan li hermuna, and they gave me permission, v'amitz kayach, and strength, memeleches harakia, from the work of the heavens, upis chule shari oira, and they opened for me the gates of light, as if to say, asoik b'Torah, Maharshal, learn, v'as don iser v'heter. It's like, what's he saying? He said, it sounds like one time he got a siman hashamayim with a candle, and he took it as a sign that heaven was going, like, go, heaven was rooting for him. So if you look, so question is, what's he talking about? What's the story? So it's brought in the Sefer Kav HaYashar in Parak Tzadi Vav. He brings down what the story was. He says, V'harav hagoyin Maharshal kasav v'hakdam ha'sifroi kol liyam shoshoma. He brings down the words, and on the fourth line he says, V'shamati mi pi moiri, I heard from my Rabbeim al pi Kabbalah, she'inyan hu kach, here's the story. K'shahaya Rav Shlomo Luria Zechron Levracha loimed, when the Yam Shoshoma was learning, V'chiber hasfarim Yam Shoshoma, he was writing the works, Yam Shoshoma, Eiroloi, it happened, Shahaya loi rak ner katan, he had a small candle, V'doilek lefanav, you know those candles that you get from the Telz Yeshiva? So those last how long? 15 minutes? They do?
12 seconds?
12 seconds?
They're not
I don't know if they're supposed to, yeah?
Take them out of the box.
Yeah. So he was learning by one of the candles he got from the Telz Yeshiva. He got a candle from the Telz Yeshiva. Vayizman kavli kavos. It's basically 10 minutes later, and it was burning, kamashois, longer than 3 or 4 candles. V'zeh ha'idul of Tamidah v'nechtai, and his Tamidim testify about him that Baal Hanes Hikar B'ner v'nisai, that the Yam Shlomo himself experienced the miracle of Chanukah in his Beis HaMedrash, in his study. By the way, the Chidah brings down that the Yam Shlomo was a direct descendant of Rashi. And the Chidah also brings down the story in the Shem HaGdolim. He says, "V'neis nasaloi b'layla echad, shaloi hayoloi lahadlik kiyim ner katan for a shah, v'hayoloi made umashcha shmaita kama shois."
The main part of the story is missing. Is it the first night or the second night?
It must have been the first night, because he didn't have a menorah till the... Yeah. So by the way, the Gemara says, Haragil v'ner havilen banim tamidei chachamim. So the simple meaning is somebody who is careful to light the menorah properly. But I believe the Maharshal says it's also going on the ner of Torah, that those who supply the ner of Torah or learn b'ner Torah, having le banim tamidei chachamim, shall be zoicha to have banim tamidei chachamim ad b'yas Glatstein hem yameinu shkoyach afelach Chanukah.
You've just experienced another Torah class brought to you by TorahAnytime.com.